Welcome back to my channel. Today we are at Universal Studios, Florida. I cannot wait to dive into the park today. Today is the first time in 23 years that I have stepped foot in Universal Studios Orlando. I am super excited to jump into the park today and see all the things that have changed over the last 2 decades. So as always, we're not going to waste any time. Let's roll it. So coming down past the ticketing gates, what strikes me is both the similarities and differences compared to Universal Studios Hollywood. It feels very deja vu, but at the same time, I'm also slightly overwhelmed because I don't know where things are. I don't know where I should head first. I do know what rides and attractions I want to experience today, but I want to take my time kind of meandering and getting all lost a little bit and just experiencing the park for itself. Let me know in the comments, what is your all-time favorite attraction of any theme park? I'm curious to know, because for me it's very easy. It's Revenge of the Mummy, but I'd love to hear what you guys love to ride, what you guys like to experience. So yeah, drop it in the comments and let me know. Now, not too many feet after walking in, we have the Wicked store, so I am not going to pass up an opportunity to take a look at this one to compare it to the one in Hollywood. Just the exterior of this one is so much larger. They definitely have a lot more to work with in terms of the decor, and they're really playing off both the Glinda and the Elphaba vibes on both sides of the entrance. So let's head inside and take a look. All right, this entryway is really cool. And the AC is really cool. It feels really nice. It is very humid here in Florida, something that I for sure forgot in all this time I have not been out here. But look at this, we have Glinda's costume here on display. It looks absolutely gorgeous. We also have her shoes, her tiara, and of course her wand. It's really nice. This feels more like it's commemorating all of the different film artifacts and costumes and props. We also have different screen grabs from the film. These look really nice, and these actually look more like behind the scenes shots. Like, these are not shots we see in the film, so this is very much so giving behind the scenes vibes. Very cool. And then we come into the actual store, a lot more spacious than the one in Hollywood, but it looks like a lot of the same items, merch, memorabilia, but again, a lot more when in terms of decoration of the store compared to Hollywood. Now, this is really cool. We have the replica of Elphaba's broomstick. Very nice. It looks to be life-size, so that's very cool. But then also to the right, we have her costume and the broomstick again. This one seems to have a lot more detail than the one we just saw on the floor. Overall, the store is just a lot more of an in-depth experience, kind of bringing you into the movie rather than just being a shopping experience, which I like. I really like how immersive this is overall. I think it's really cool. All right, so again, I thought it was really cool how immersive and in-depth this Wicked store is compared to the one in Hollywood. I think it's really great. All of the props and costumes that they have from the film available for you to look at in person, that's pretty top-notch. I'm going to run into the Universal Studios store really quickly because even though it's kind of overcast and cloudy, I am struggling to see without squinting. So let's see if we can find some sunglasses. So I like the layout of this Universal Studios store. Everything is a lot more like geometric and aligned, so you're not zigzagging and weaving your way in and out of things compared to Hollywood. So this is nice. This is actually really nice. I think they do food in here also because I smell popcorn very strongly. We found the sunglasses kiosk, so I'm probably gonna grab whatever is the easiest to grab, that I also won't feel bad if it gets dropped, cracked, breaks, or gets lost. So let's see what we find. All right, much better. I am no longer squinting and struggling. So let's continue on with exploring Universal Orlando. The first attraction that I know very little about is the Race Through New York, starring Jimmy Fallon. It only has a 10-minute wait. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe it's a lot of people's favorite, but I am super curious to see how it goes. Okay, well, so far the queue is interesting, definitely giving behind the scenes NBC vibes. Growing up in New York, I have been to Rockefeller Center in Manhattan, so this is very much true to how the hallways look in that building, especially on the levels where things are filmed. So they definitely have the queue right here, which is really nice. So I'm excited to see what exactly this ride attraction entails. Now, the only Jimmy Fallon we get in Hollywood is during the studio tour, so this is a lot right now. Okay, I kind of really like how this is set up like the SNL studio. So this is really, really, really cool.
Race through New York, starring Jimmy Fallon. Come on and take...
All right, so I don't know what the point of that was exactly, but it was fine. I mean, it's very reminiscent to me of the mechanics of rides like Simpsons and Minions. So nothing special. Interesting, I guess, but I still don't understand what the point of it was. But if you like that ride, more power to you. Next, we are heading to the ride that made me fall in love with Universal Studios as a theme park, Revenge of the Mummy. Now, my very first time ever riding the attraction was here in Orlando, again, over 2 decades ago. So I know it's slightly different. I do recall the slight changes that were made between the two parks, but I'm gonna jump on it to kind of jog my memory of what it's like in here. Super excited because, again, without a doubt, without a question, this is the ride that made me fall in love with Universal Studios. Revenge of the Mummy here in Orlando is just absolutely incredible. It has more false starts, false stops than the one in Hollywood. So this one takes the cake. I have to say, this is probably my favorite ride. We have had to say goodbye to Fast and Furious Supercharged in Hollywood as they get ready to open up Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift next year, which we've been tracking. So head on back to some of my previous videos. I do just about weekly updates on the progress of the coaster. Track is done. They're currently looking internally for volunteers to begin testing the track in the coming weeks and months. So it's made a lot of progress, but again, we've had to say goodbye to Fast and Furious Supercharged, which was the closing attraction on the studio tour. I feel like I want to see Dom and the crew again, so I'm going to jump on this one. I like how here we have Dom's Dodge Charger readily available for viewing right outside the entrance to the single rider queue. And overall, definitely very immersive. Again, ours was at the end of the studio tour, so it wasn't immersive like this, but this is pretty legit. I'm curious if the structure they're building for Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift will be similar in terms of the queue inside, or if they're going to go with a completely different vibe. I love that we're vibing in this queue. Oh, this is my kind of music. Love this. This is so funny that we have the baby oil for the Rock's character of Hobbs. I think that is hysterical. And funny enough, I am currently in the middle of a Fast and Furious binge. I am up to Fast 9. So this is great. I love, again, the immersiveness of all this. And seeing all this here, this is fantastic, and something we missed out on in Hollywood since it was only part of the studio tour. So that was actually interesting. The screens for Fast and Furious Supercharged here are a lot clearer than the ones we had in Hollywood. So I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that the tech was a little bit more crisp and advanced than the screens we were working with back on the West Coast. That being said, everything else for the most part was the same. Obviously, it is an actual train or car that goes through the attraction to take you through, which was nice in comparison to the studio tour. But overall, everything else felt and pretty much moved the exact same way. But I'm glad that I did it because now I have a great comparison of the two rides. All right, now we're going to try to find Diagon Alley so we can ride Escape from Gringotts. That is another ride I have never tried before. So I think it looks really cool. I think it looks interesting. It does look like screens. But screens really don't bother me that much. I know a lot of people are against them, but I typically am fine with them, especially if the ride itself is pretty cool. So let's go find Diagon Alley. So now it looks like we're entering London which means we are pretty close to Diagon Alley, which this will be my first time ever visiting. I love the fact that I almost missed it until I quickly looked to the left and recognized the brick structure here as the entrance to Diagon Alley. So I cannot wait to walk in and experience this for the first time. That is so cool that it's making the sound as if the bricks are opening up to let you through, just like in the first Harry Potter movie. This looks amazing. This is incredible. Love the attention to detail, very reminiscent to Hogsmeade with the amount of intricacy that has gone into the exterior of all these buildings. So let's do a little exploration. Alright, so I went on Escape from Gringotts for the first time, and it was so good. That initial drop was everything. That was absolutely fantastic. So highly recommend. I definitely put that ride up there with one of my favorite rides here in Universal Florida so far. So we are slowly winding down our day here at the park, and to kind of shift over from doing the rides and attractions, we're going to start looking at some of the entertainment available here at Universal Studios Florida. Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees did a phenomenal job. I love the style of music that they sang, very reminiscent of the 20s. I thought it was really nice. Now it is 7 p.m. The park closes at 9 p.m. today, but it almost feels like a ghost town already. Not a lot of people here at all. All the rides have super low wait times, around like 10 minutes. So it's actually not a bad time to be in the park to enjoy quite a few rides with very low wait times. But I do find it interesting that not that many people are here. Not sure if it's because it's a Monday, but I'll take it. I'm enjoying the low crowds right now. All right, so we are officially in the area of the park referred to as Hollywood. So they have quite a few Hollywood-ish looking things. Kind of feels like a mix of walking down Hollywood Boulevard and Rodeo Drive, if that makes sense. But you can see they have some high-end storefronts, or I should say high-end facades along the sides, but then again some other things like the dark room and a pharmacy, which is giving more Hollywood Boulevard. We also have the stars on the ground. So yeah, so I walked up to the Bourne Stuntacular. However, the doors are closed. So not only are the doors closed, but it says next to the entrance sign that it is closed, and based on the time it is right now, I don't get the feeling they are going to be reopening. So unfortunately we missed the Bourne Stuntacular today. All right, so since we've missed out on the Bourne Stuntacular, we are going to wrap up our day here at the park with Men in Black Alien Attack, yet another ride I have not been on ever. So excited to see how this one is. That was actually surprisingly fun. I don't know why I thought it was going to be more like a kiddie ride. It wasn't very intense, but there's a ton of spinning. So I do not recommend, if you just ate, going on that ride. Or just close your eyes and hold your breath. But other than that, it was entertaining. It was great. Not my favorite, but not bad. Really interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video and tagging along with me with my revisit to Universal Studios Orlando for the first time in 23 years. I've had an absolute blast here at the park today. I've had so much fun between the rides I've revisited, rides I've tried for the first time. This was an awesome day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!